Any questions? But I still trust the journalists. Of course, journalists are my friends. I mean, look, this is a story about one journalist and one actress, and what interested me about the story and about the original was that you got to see, you know, these two people, these two people who have these professions as people, and that, you know, I think they forget what they do during the course of the night and make this, you know, sort of weird connection, and that they both jeopardize and hurt each other. And you know, what interested me about the original was watching these two people sort of going through this breakup on you know, and they've just met. Not every journalist would do that, but this guy does. He's desperate. You know, yes. Anybody else? The actors here get to read the interviews before they come out? Wow. Yeah, no, I wish that happened. I'm sorry, are you done? No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you still asking?
Yeah, the question is, how is it done in the US?
In the US, yeah, you just, you know, also in the original version, Pierre goes straight to Katya's house, and that rarely happens in the States, that we would let a journalist into our home. So, so then we made up that they would meet at a restaurant, and then, you know, this accident happens, and that's what causes them to go back to the place. But yeah, usually when we do an interview, we don't get to read the piece before it comes out, and I mean, most of the time it comes out, I'd say, you know, the way that I would expect, but there have been times when I've been, and I was drinking, and okay, maybe that would have been true if I was there at the bar with him. But you know, he just really took liberties, and I mean, I'm not even sure if it was he that took the liberties, or if it was his editor, or somebody decided to place this to make it more interesting. They placed us in a bar. They had me saying "fuck" every other word, and then Tim Roth walked in the bar, and he and I had this, you know, and part of that conversation was lifted from an interview that I did with Tim Roth when I interviewed him for an Interview magazine like a few years ago. So it was very strange, but still I do you know, by and large do trust journalists, and I think the best interviews I've ever done is when it feels like I'm having a conversation with the person that I'm talking to, and not like I'm being interviewed, and that's when it, you know, those are the best ones for me, and there are a lot of good journalists, and I've had a lot of those, and I've had some where, you know, it is kind of like this, where I've had to sort of explain myself, you know, and I've explained my, you know, whole history, you know, it seems like hundreds of times to people, but I understand it. I mean, a journalist wants to, you know, they want to feel like they're getting the story right from the horse's mouth, and not having to go off a biography or a what do you call it, a briefing. Well, when her name was brought up, I honestly didn't know who she was, and I was reminded of why I, you know, may have heard of her, and but I hadn't seen her films, and she had only done a couple. She had done Alfie, and she did Layer Cake. She did Casanova, but it hadn't come out yet. And I know she's done other work too, but I just hadn't seen it. And you know, I didn't want to cast somebody only because they were known in the tabloids, and that would, you know, make it interesting for the film to have somebody who's really in the tabloids play somebody who's in the tabloids. I really wanted, you know, I really needed an actress who could handle the part and had the acting chops to do it. So I checked out both those films that I mentioned. And then on the DVD extra of Layer Cake, I watched her electronic press kit interview, where she was just herself and just talking about the role she played. And there was something about her personality that I felt was right for that. That she could bring these qualities to this character, and also she was so different from the characters I saw her play that I immediately knew that she was a good actress. And that was the most important criteria for me, was that she had to be a good actress. Was he lying about his own wife? He could have been, maybe. Do you think he was? I get, people have said to me, is she still lying at the end, or was he lying? And I guess, yeah, the two of them could be lying throughout, but, yeah, for me, I had to play it, that it was true. Did I believe it? Yeah. Unless you didn't, and then I didn't either. My original thought was just to direct it and have somebody else play the part, although in the back of my mind I knew it was a great part, and I knew I wanted to, maybe have a shot at it. Although it was pretty intimidating because, I thought Pierre did such a great job, and I didn't want to have that, everybody worked on the film, set such a high bar. And it was my wife that actually talked me into playing the part, and it was, the help of everybody here, knowing that they had done the film before, and that I had Tomasz and Dushka and all of them just really watching out for me, that I thought, I'm in really good hands. I think I can act in this and, put more trust in the people that I'm working with. As far as, we weren't really planning a lot of shots. And it's one of the things, I didn't know Theo, but I know from talking to everybody that he loved actors, and that's why they came up with this way of shooting with 3 cameras, so that the actors could be free of all that stuff of having to hit a mark, having to be under a certain light, doing an over-the-shoulder shot, and then you turn around and you do it the other way, and one person's off camera. And usually I do my best work off camera. So it was great to have a camera on me all the time, so that, you could catch, and you get lucky and catch something. And we would forget that the cameras were there. We had, 3 people and the sound person following us around. Everybody was light on their feet. And it was great. So in that way, we rehearsed it for 2 weeks, like a play. And then we filmed it in sequence, which is another rare thing to do in film. And but it doesn't look like a filmed play. I was really impressed with the visuals of the first one, and so I knew that even though we were going to be in primarily one location, that it would have a really interesting look. So that's why I felt I had the confidence that I could direct and act and chew gum at the same time. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. You were a wonderful audience.
Thank you very much, Steve Buscemi and the members of Clutch for creating a wonderful